I'm excited to announce we are extending our Cyber Monday deal where you get 40% off a year-long membership or a monthly membership at dynastynerds.com. That's right. So you get the GM tool, you get the extra podcast, you get the film room, you get all kinds of great stuff for 40% off. So go right now, dynastynerds.com, and use promo code CYBER40. That's promo code CYBER40. Use it today because we're only extending it one additional week. Next Thursday, December 12th, it's over. So get it in now while you still can.
Ready, set, put up. Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson. He's Matt O'Hara.
Hey.
And he's Garret Price.
How's it going?
It's my least favorite thing about doing remote is the introductions where there's that slight delay.
Just a little off.
Oh, just be ready, Bet. Just be ready quicker is what I'm trying to say. Inside notes.
Inside notes.
On the outside.
Dead air is bad. Anyways, we're here with a game episode. That's right. We play games on this show. We like to do it. We like to do the office. No Isaiah likely meter this week, but don't worry to be back in your ears in no time. Garret, what are we playing today? You are the game show host. You are the master debater.
There we go. We actually got 3 games today. We'll be going through them pretty quickly. Usually we only do 2, but I was like, I feel like we should sneak 3 in. So we've got 3 today. We've got blind resume, which we've done before. I give you clues about a player. You guys have to try to guess who it is. A new segment that we've never done before called One Word. I'm going to give you a random player. I literally just picked a bunch of random players, and you give me one word to describe those players, and then you tell me why you picked that word. And then last but not least, the last segment will be, is he worth a first? And so I'll give you another list of players, and you tell me if you would trade that player straight up for the 106, or would you rather have that player? So those are our 3 games today.
Yeah, and that's the most intriguing segment. I like that. I like that game.
You like it?
What, this pick or that player? Like, I like that. Like, definitely coming rookie season too. Like,
that's gonna be a fun one. We'll bring that back. Both of these are new segments, so I'm excited about them.
Like, we should do like, if you have 1-3, you should like mix it up like close to like 1-3, 1-6. We're doing 1-6 now.
101,
1-9, and 1-12.
110. Yeah, I like
it.
All right, let's start off with the blind resume or resume if you fancy. All right, here we go. We've got 4 of them here today. 4 of them. All right, you guys ready for the first one?
I think so.
You guys seem so excited. Okay,
I can't wait. Let's hear these resumes.
Yeah.
Question number 1. I'm the wide receiver 1 on my team, and I have had 15 or more PPR points in 4 of my last 5 games. However, I've never been viewed as more than a high-end wide receiver 3. Also, I have one of the easiest strength of schedules for the rest of the season. Who am I?
Never been higher than a wide receiver 3, like in terms of value. So
correct.
Value.
Yep.
But
I'll read it again. I'm the wide receiver 1 on my team, and I have 15 or more PPR points in 4 of my last 5 games. However, I've never been viewed as more than a high-end wide receiver 3, and I also have the easiest, or one of the easiest, I should say, one of the easiest remaining schedules rest of season.
I mean, it's not
Jerry Jeudy?
Is it? Who?
Not Jerry Jeudy. That's a good guess.
Is it? It's not Cortland Sutton, right? Because he's been viewed as like a wide receiver
Cortland
2 at
Sutton.
times.
Not Cortland Sutton.
I'm looking at names here. Going through
It's funny that we both thought of the guys that were playing last night because they're so top of
most recent game in my brain.
Top of mind here.
This is over the last 4 weeks. He's scored double-digit points. He's number 1. Calvin Ridley?
4 of the past 5.
He was high end.
4 of the past 5, and he's never been viewed as more than a high-end wide receiver 3. Never.
And that's what's kind of throwing me off. It's that thought. Like I was like, oh, Terry McLaurin's been balling out, but he's been valued pretty high.
Is it Darnell Mooney?
It's not Darnell Mooney. That's a good guess. He's been struggling the past couple weeks though, due to Kirk Cousins.
It's not Nick Westbrook-Ikini.
He's on a team out west.
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers is the correct answer. Guys, what do we think about Jacoby Myers as a dynasty asset, but also rest of the season? He actually has the easiest wide receiver schedule the rest of the season. He has been playing really well lately as kind of the Robin to Brock Bowers Batman. And I still don't think anybody really values him at all.
Agreed that he doesn't have a ton of value as far as people, because he has always had that I guess stigma to him that he's a wide receiver 3 only. That's kind of his ceiling. But really, we've seen him dip into those wide receiver 2 numbers, I think, before. So I don't know why that hasn't been kind of stripped away. He's 28 years old, so he is kind of a little bit of an older prospect. But I mean, even if they bring a guy in next year, who cares? For the rest of the season, this guy is, I think, worth a pickup. He's worth a bench stash for your playoff run for sure, because there's just no one else there.
He's worth a second round pick.
Yeah, I think right around there. I mean, I would feel great if you could get him for a little
contender
less.
pick.
I don't know. Yeah,
you're not gonna get him for less than that. I mean, dude, you say he's 28. He's the number 1 receiver on his team now, outside of Brock Bowers. But like he's somebody kind of stepped up last year a little bit too, and played okay. I can't remember the reason why, but I mentioned Jacoby Myers as a buy at some point.
But maybe if you could get him,
you mentioned him this offseason.
If you could get him thrown in, if you're trying to acquire another piece, you know what I mean. And you
it's
don't
too
feel
late for the dance, Matt. You gotta get right down the beans of the situation.
Nah, like you could like a David Montgomery in him or something like that for a first. You wouldn't feel great giving a first for David Montgomery, but if you maybe got Jacoby Myers and the person would be like, who cares? Like Jacoby Myers is gonna have no value next year. Sure, I'll throw
for
him
what
on
it's
top.
worth. For what it's worth, last season, in total points, he finished as wide receiver 24. So he was actually a wide receiver 2 last year. And this year, he's
23.
He missed a couple games earlier on in the season, but he's wide receiver 23, and he's been averaging more points. He's at 14.3 points per game. And like I said, those past 5 weeks, 4 of those have been over 15, not just double digits, over 15 points. So he's been like a really good, solid asset for your team.
Yeah, that's why I'd easily pay a second for Jacoby Myers as a contender right now. Like without honestly, as a late second, he's probably worth a second and a third. I'm talking about like fair value. Like if push came to shove and I need a receiver and that's the best one available, I had to pay a second and third. I have no problem getting a third on top of that, like to help for my championship push. At least he offers something. Like you said, he was wide receiver 24 last year. He's wide receiver 23 now. Like he offers that. Like, okay, if he steps back a little bit, I still have a wide receiver 3. He's a great flex play, good bye week filler, injury filler. Like just a guy like you're happy to have on your roster, like that you can put in there and play. And I hope it's like a Devon Bailey or, I mean, shit, Mike Williams has disappeared. You can't put, he just literally doesn't even exist. So he's a bad example, but like even a guy like, I'm trying to think of a good example of like sometimes you have those bigger names on your team, like a Jameson Williams, maybe for example, or like a Jordan Addison, like a Rashad Bateman, something along those lines. Even a guy like right now, Devontae Adams, like you can put in there and you feel like he's going to give you something at least decent with a high upside.
Can I ask a question that probably is crazy, but do you feel more confident putting Jacoby Myers into your lineup right now or Tyreek Hill?
Oh, Jacoby Myers.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
No, it's Tyreek Hill keeps saying his wrist is hurt, so it's
weird. It shouldn't be that way, but it is.
I tell you, man, don't let these opportunities slip through your fingers, right? Like you just don't know. Not even when the people are just going to get hurt, but when the wheels fall off, right? Like, so like, yeah, nuts. Like here we are in the playoffs and you're like, man, who do you feel more confident about in your lineup?
Ridiculous.
All right, let's hear this next blind resume.
Let's do it. All right. I am over 26 years old, so he's an older player. And this is a wide receiver, by the way, and I have had over 1,000 yards in every season of my veteran career except my rookie season. However,
Mike Evans,
this season will likely be my first ever double-digit touchdown year.
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin, first guess this time. Bravo. He is currently at 9 touchdowns, so one away. He has never had a double-digit touchdown season, but man, has this guy just been incredibly consistent throughout his career. Even his rookie season was over 900 yards. He almost hit it as a rookie. Right now, he is wide receiver 4 overall on the season. Now, that will dip a little bit because this is their bye week, but still, on a points per game basis, he's not dropping far. CeeDee Lamb's the only one that might jump him with the bye week. So what are we doing with Terry McLaurin? He is getting up there in years, but he's the only option on this team. I do expect them to add some sort of pass catcher to the squad, but how do we feel about Terry McLaurin long-term in Dynasty?
I mean, not spectacular. He's 29 years old.
Right. He's 29 years old. So, I mean, the end is closer than the beginning at this point. So
in the middle.
Sure.
It's closer than the middle even. Yeah, you're right.
Well, but we see a lot of receivers. Cooper Kupp's 31. Mike Evans is 31.
I would think that's where
31.
I would think that's where
who's the third one?
Devontae Adams.
Adam Thielen's 34.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I would think he's a guy that could probably play 32, maybe. So, I mean, we're getting really towards the back end of his career.
For sure.
And you know, the Commanders are going to need to bring somebody else in as well. That's what I'm kind of worried about, because you have this young quarterback who is a budding superstar, and Terry's a great wide receiver for him right now, but they have to see what we all see, that Terry's 29 years old, and they're going to need to get in a long-term answer there. So I don't think it's going to take them long. You know, if it's not this offseason, it's for sure going to be the offseason after that, where they're bringing in a pretty high-end pick for this guy to kind of grow and mature with, and kind of, you know, this is his first kind of go at it. But he needs somebody that's going to be there for the long haul, and that's whoever they bring in next.
Yeah. What would you, let's say after the season's over, like, is he still worth a late first, like a 112, or would it now be in like the multiple seconds type of range?
No, he's still worth the first. Listen, he's wide receiver 4 right now. He's finally got a good quarterback with him, finally, right? So, like, and Terry's always been good, like you said. He has had a really high-end quarterback to help distribute the ball to him, and right now he's got a very high-end quarterback, a very, very good quarterback with him. And look what he's doing. He's wide receiver 4 overall, like you mentioned. We could say, yeah, long-term value is 29, so maybe he's got 3 more years. Let's say 2 more years for sure. Like, again, 2 years, when people just say, oh, he's only got 2 years left, that is 24 months. That's a very, very, very long time, right? Like, 2 years of your life, back-to-back ships potentially, like, that's still worth a first. If you're getting somebody that's going to produce at wide receiver 1 levels, probably worst case, high-end wide receiver 2 levels, yeah, on a championship caliber team, that's worth a first pretty damn easily, because that's a difference maker is what you're looking for. So giving up pick 12, pick 11 for a true difference maker, not just a good guy, like a good depth piece, but like a clear end, high end starter on your fantasy team, that is easily worth a first that you shouldn't worry about. That's a 50-50 luck pick in your rookie draft, right? That's most likely not going to help you, and almost certainly not going to help you at the level Terry McLaurin is, which is going to be the next 2 years. If you're a championship caliber team, that's the window you're living in. Definitely make that move now. So you're talking about 2 more years, which is a 3-year window you're in. That's about the average lifespan of a championship caliber window if you get lucky enough to stay healthy and make the right moves. And adding a guy like Terry McLaurin is the right move. So just because somebody's 29 saying, well, he is 29, it's worth 2 seconds. It's like, no, dude, he's worth your first. Like, I'm already taking a huge gamble. I'm giving you a high end. It kind of goes back to the Joe Mixon argument, right? Like, you're getting 2 years of running back 1 numbers. Like, yeah, buddy, that's worth a first. Sorry.
Yep.
That's some gamble on my 17% chance to hit on a second round pick.
And I've been referencing this league for a few weeks, going back now. The one league that we were talking about, last week, I think, or the week before, where I had a bunch of wide receivers. I got rid of Cooper Kupp and Austin Eckler for really some like 2027 type of picks and 2026 picks. And, I wasn't going to make the playoffs in that league, but I wasn't really going to sacrifice any more of my depth at wide receiver due to the fact that I knew it was going to be a stronger, running back class and kind of less depth there at the wide receiver. I had some guy reach out to me and he was like, all right, I know the trade deadline's coming. He's like, what's the price on Terry McLaurin and Cortland Sutton? And I was like, listen, both of these guys are going on bye next week. I was like, they're already not going to be on my team to like, they're not going to be my lineup to win me a game. I was like, I don't have a ton of motivation to move these guys. Just to let you know, like I'm not like 3 weeks ago I wanted to get these guys off my team, so I didn't win any games. Now they're on week 14 bye. I don't care. Like they're just going to sit here and I'm okay keeping them next year because my team's not that bad. I was like, that said, like if you really want one of them, I was like, I'll take a first and a second for either one of them, or I'll take Brian Thomas in your second for both of them right now. And that was a strict move to get younger, but I get a stud wide receiver back, and I feel pretty good about that. And I didn't think there was a shot of him really doing any of these. I just threw it out there. He's like, all right, I sent the offer over. I'm like, crap, I should have asked for more. I should have asked for Brian Thomas. And
you crushed it. I love that. I even texted him. I was like, dude,
which one did you get? The Brian Thomas deal?
I got the Brian Thomas in a second is what he sent over. So I feel pretty. I feel pretty
deal.
Yeah, I feel pretty good.
It's a great deal, but it makes sense for him. Like if that helps him win a ship, like I get it.
Exactly what I told Rich. Rich was like, great deal, man. I was like, thank you. I was like, I'm really happy he took it. Like I kind of laid out what I was like, but this has the potential to be really, really good for him too, because this guy is balling out. And like you mentioned, Rich, it could be another 2 or 3 years with both of these guys where they're pretty high end guys and they're the number one guy on their team. So
yep,
it's really, I think, a win-win.
It goes back to like, you put that on Twitter, right? That's a trade you put on Twitter. 99% of the people are going to take Brian Thomas in the second. 99%. Like, I made a dynasty trade. They don't understand the context of the league, right? Like, again, getting those two players, if he could win the ship this year, yeah, you gave up Brian Thomas, but like, you're trying to win a ship. Like, it's like Brian Thomas is on your team to help you win a ship, and it puts him in a much better position now. You go out there and do just that. So
and you're going to have two guys in your lineup that were going to match the production of that one guy. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be getting 15 to 20 points out of both of those guys, and you were getting 15 to 20 points out of just Brian Thomas. So it really is a win-win. I feel like as far as
who's the next blind resume guy we're at.
All right, let's go to the tight end position here. I have been a top 12 overall tight end for 3 straight seasons. That's including this year. He's currently a top 12 guy. But I've never been top 6. Who am I?
There's probably so many.
I double checked. I checked all 3 years. There's nobody that has been top 12 every season, but not top 6 in any of them.
But never the top 6.
And it's not Hunter Henry. That was a good guess. It was not Hunter Henry.
And this guy's in the top 6 now?
No, he's top 12. He's once again top 12. 3 straight years of top 12.
Smith question?
No. 3 straight years of top 12. But none of those have been in the top 6.
Cole Kmet?
It's Cole Kmet.
Cole
Kmet once again.
That's who I was going to guess. And I was hesitant.
I'm curious on, like I said, I don't have him ranked super high. I have him at 16. Well, where do you have him? 16?
No, it's just so funny to hear you say I don't have Cole Kmet ranked very high.
That's true.
After what, 5 years now of you saying, listen, man, you guys are all just underranking this guy.
Hey, and I was right. Top 12 guy. But regardless, where are you guys at on him? Because I said this offseason, I'm out on Cole Kmet. Broke my heart, but I'm out. I think there's too many mouths to feed, yada, yada, yada. But now I'm getting pulled back in. He is 12 right now. That's where he's at. And I'm getting pulled back in a little bit. And the reason being, I think there's a decent chance that Keenan Allen probably is not on this team next year.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, he's going to be running a lot of that same area that Keenan Allen runs. And Keenan Allen actually has been pretty good the past couple of weeks. We've seen a couple blow-up games from Cole Kmet. Seems to have a pretty good rapport with Caleb Williams. So I'm getting brought back in a little bit. So I thought I'd ask some people that were less biased than me. What do we think about
never
Cole
left? You never left. This was all like it's all his last show and a half has been him building up like he's all of a sudden like, oh, Jonnu Smith way better. And right back here, he's like, I'm kind of getting brought back in. Like, bitch, you never left. Yeah. Listen, Cole Kmet is what he is, right? Like, yeah, is he quarterback 12 1 year? Is he won a quarterback tight end 9 this year? Like, yeah, whatever. Even at quarterback tight end number 12 right now, he's averaging. Where's he average? 8.9 points. There's Taysom Hill's behind him, averaging 12.9. Kyle Pitts, who's been literally like zeros on the board multiple weeks, is averaging 8.5. You got Dallas Goedert at tight end 17, averaging 10.5. Like, okay, you want to move up to 9 to 15? Like, again, we talk about this all the time. They're the middle of the road. Pat Freiermuth, Cole Kmet, same guy. Like, yeah, Dallas Goedert at this point with the weapons on his team, same guy. Like, are you going to put him in your lineup and feel okay about it? Yeah, because he's going to give you tight end 1 numbers, but like he's also going to give you tight end 15 numbers. So,
and I sold.
Thanks for inviting me to the party.
For what it's worth, I did sell some Cole Kmet this offseason. I actually didn't draft him in any of my new leagues, which was heartbreaking. But I do think that he's somebody that has a better outlook next year than what I thought coming into this year.
Yeah, they're probably all nerd herd leagues where people are trying to poke a joke like, hey, Garrett, I'll give you a first for Cole Kmet. And Garrett smash accepts. They're like, oh, no, what'd I do?
It is funny.
Jokes.
It is funny because in almost every time I draft with nerd herd people, like they clearly know us well. And it's constantly like, oh, Garrett really likes this guy. So I'm going to draft him. I'm going to trade up 1 pick before his and draft him there. Like happens almost every time. Like, oh, it's there's somebody even in like the 20th round took DJ Dallas just so I couldn't have DJ Dallas.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are the worst. All right, last one, blind resume. I am a running back with a top 5 season under my belt. I'm averaging over 14 points per game this year. And I'm in my first contract. Despite all of this, I am not in the Nerds composite. So that's the 3 of us. I am not in the Nerds composite top 20 running backs. Who am I?
Wait, one more time?
One more time.
Resume? Yeah. Sorry.
I'm a running back with a top 5 season under my belt. I'm averaging over 14 points per game this season. And I am in my first contract. Despite all of this, I am not in the Nerds composite top 20 running backs.
That's a tough.
It can't be somebody. I obviously have this player ranked in my top 20, and you guys don't.
Maybe
Is it
not.
James Cook?
It is not James Cook. I think we all have him top 12. I have James Cook top 12 anyway.
That's what I was saying. I'm trying to think of like who's.
I have James Cook at 8.
I don't think James Cook ever got top 5.
Is it Travis Etienne?
It is actually it's not, but that would also apply to Travis Etienne. No, it wouldn't because he's not averaging 14 points per game this season.
Okay.
Oh, right there.
He's not. I was like, wait, dang it. I messed up. It applies to 2 people, but no, he's not averaging 14 points per game this season.
Brian Robinson?
Is it Najee?
Nope. It's Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Najee Harris is averaging over 14 points per game this season, putting up pretty nice numbers. He only has 2 games since week 3, only 2 games under 10 points. So very consistent production each and every week. He has that top 5 season under his belt, but obviously he's an older guy that's in his first contract. We actually said something about him briefly on the last show. So I thought you guys were going to get it for sure when you were mentioning his first contract. I was like, dang it. That's one of the clues. But he lasted a little bit here. Any quick thoughts? I know we touched on him a couple weeks ago. Any other quick thoughts on Najee before we go to our next game?
Listen, Najee's look good. Like you said, what he's averaging right now. But we kind of said this before. We kind of predicted Najee as a nice buy this year. Is like, listen, he's going to a contract year. They don't have a great quarterback situation. It's kind of known right now. So it's like, again, from playing football, playing Dynasty for such a long time, like I've seen this happen a lot too, where that running back, he's in that contract year, comes out, plays, it's pretty good. Looks pretty good. And then gets a little contract, and all of a sudden, like, oh, wow, he got $8 million a year, and then a rookie starting above him. You're like, oh, okay, I saw that coming too. But he has looked good, and Najee's a guy who I liked. But like, I feel consensus with Najee, like where he is, like, yeah, 20, like he's there, but like,
I got him at 18. I mean, so he's right around 18, 20, I mean, whatever. Splitting hairs at that point.
Would you draft Najee or Brian Robinson Jr. first?
Najee.
Do I have to?
Yeah, but I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, I'm taking guys like you're taking Tyrone Tracy ahead of him. You're going to take a ton of these rookies ahead of him. Yeah,
the rookies is where it's going to get really interesting once he gets in. You have ETN ahead of him? I don't.
Oh, I don't. I mean, dude, listen, this season's almost over. The running back, like where somebody is right now, is almost meaningless for what's about. Like once the NFL draft happens and free agency, like right at this point, like after like this week, there's no need to talk about who you have. Right, you mentioned it, Garrett. Like who, outside of having like Gibbs, Achane, Breece Hall, and Bijan and Saquon, like you probably throw Bucky in that mix right now. You feel pretty good. Like who do you even really feel like really good about? Like if you have Bucky, you feel really good about that too. So I'll throw him into that mix, but not a ton. So
yeah.
The season's over. In running backs, it's a very fluid situation, and this one's about to get, it's about to become oil and water in that kind of fluid situation because the only reason really, really drastically different.
The only reason I'll push back a tiny bit is where I do think it matters is the shrewd owners, as soon as the season ends, are making trades. As soon as the fantasy season ends, up until the draft, because they're trying to capitalize on being able to foresee a little bit ahead of like, hey, here's what I think is going to happen. So I'm going to make moves now to protect myself from the draft or from free agency or whatever. So that's the only reason I do think rankings still matter now even.
No, yeah. And I mean, yeah, they definitely matter now. But like what I would say, I'd be more speaking to is like the audience here saying the rankings do matter. Like I'm still going to rank them in important how I would draft them is how I have them ranked.
Yep.
I would just encourage everybody, just don't make any moves for running backs.
Correct.
Going forward. Like don't make any moves.
If it's not one of those guys we named, don't.
Yeah. Don't. Until the NFL draft is over, nobody's safe. Like anything could change. Somebody can get cut. Somebody can get signed. Somebody get drafted. I mean, we've seen it and we've been wowed and like, oh my gosh. I mean, look at
every year. Every year we're like
Jahmyr Gibbs, like
what is it going on?
Zach Charbonnet goes to Kenneth Walker, and that changed, like
Blake
Seattle
Corum
in the second round
to the Rams.
Blake Corum, yeah, and again, those ones didn't work out, but sometimes they will. Like both situations are like, whatever. So,
but Gibbs did.
Just don't make any moves. Yeah, your rankings do matter, 100%. Like, who would you draft? Who would you take? Because those decisions matter on draft day, right? Like, one of those guys would be better than the other, and that's what you're here to do. Like, our job is try to put our best. We study the game and we put our best opinion after all our study on who we think is the best long-term asset in Dynasty going forward. And you have to pick one. It's not like you sit here and some people is like, again, we don't do tiers a ton. We kind of talk numbers pretty hard fact because people are like, well, it's a tier. And we'll say, hey, either one or the other here. But like, listen, when you're on the clock, it's not like, oh, it's a tier. Like you have to take somebody and somebody will outperform the other person. Like that's the way it is. Yeah. So they definitely matter. What's the next game we're playing?
Hey, Nerd Herd, Dynasty Nerds has an incredible new offer from Underdog Fantasy for new customers. When you sign up as a new customer, you'll get a chance at their new customer free pick. But that's not all. Underdog is also offering incredible deposit bonuses. Use the promo code NERDS when you first sign up, and Underdog will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit. That's right, $1,000 to kickstart your fantasy football journey. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog app. Sign up today with promo code NERDS and start your journey to fantasy football glory today. Must be 18, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. In New York, call 1-877-829-9227. 8-HOPE-NY. And in Tennessee, call 1-800-889-9789. This is one word. This is a new segment here. I'm just going to name a player, and you give me one word that you feel describes this player from your perspective, and then you tell us why. And I did put a caveat in here. Rich, you are welcome to make up words if you feel the need should arise. You can make up a word if you do so wish. So, first one here. Give me one word to describe Jalen Hurts.
Mr. Consistability.
Consistability.
No, that's not my word though. That's not my word.
Oh,
I was gonna use a word that was very, I guess, contradictory to that. Contradictory to that. I was gonna say mercurial.
Ooh.
Big word, right? I looked it up and everything.
Good.
It got
word.
It is, and for me,
definition, please.
I mean, it just means like you never know what you're going to get. It's volatile, that type of thing.
Okay.
And this year, and really in the past he hasn't been, but this year he's been a little bit up and down. And especially if you have pass catchers like I do, like AJ Brown, he just hasn't been consistent in the passing game. He's still been getting it done, and some of his bigger games you can look at. It still hasn't been through the air. It's been a 3 touchdown game on rushing the ball and stuff like that. So for me, it's been a little hard to rely on him. Not from, hey, I'm starting this guy. It's, hey, I have AJ Brown on my team, and he's just not performing up to the standards that I expect him to perform up to. And it has to do with Jalen Hurts kind of not distributing the ball and not getting the ball out to his pass catchers as much.
Yeah, so you used a real word, a real definition, mercurial. That's a real word. I just made up a word for Jalen Hurts for my definition.
Go ahead.
I called him very good.
Very good?
Very good. Okay, yeah. Explain.
Obviously from a fantasy aspect, he's very good, right? Again, he's quarterback 4 in the year. He's been producing top 3 numbers, so he's very good. But for me, he's very good because I'm wary about Jalen Hurts, and kind of like what Matt said too, getting
very
tush
good.
Push and those, yeah, that's my word.
I get it now. It's 2 words, but I get it.
Yeah,
not in Richisms. It's not.
No, you're right.
No, I put them together and called it very good.
Very good.
So yeah, he's very good, and I'm very wary of Jalen Hurts because I think he's a fine NFL quarterback. He's a good NFL quarterback. He's good, but he is in my opinion, he is such a product of what's around him with that offensive line, the weapons that he has, the tush push from a fantasy perspective. So all that again, it's kind of like when you get stuck in the middle where all these teams are intentionally tanking. So you're naturally pushed up. He's just surrounded by all this good stuff. He's just elevated up. The team around him elevates him. And in a different situation, I don't think he would be as good from a fantasy football perspective in the slightest. So he's very good.
This works out beautifully. This works out beautifully for the word that I came up with because it seemed so wrong for so many people. But on this show, I came up with undervalued. And this was perfect the way that you guys described him because you guys have never really liked Jalen Hurts. But all he does is consistently put up points. He's in his 3rd season where he's putting up top 5 numbers. And the season before that, he was quarterback 9. So 4 straight quarterback 1s. He's about to put up his 3rd straight top 5 season. And he just maybe it's by hook or by crook. Maybe you don't like how it happens, but for all the guys that we give excuses as to why they're not performing, I feel like we're doing the opposite for Jalen Hurts. He is performing. It's well. Dude, and he gets it done.
Ranked really high. I have him
so
ranked
do I.
High.
What do you guys
always say is he's my 5th overall super flex player.
High enough.
Overall.
I know.
So it's but to me, I always just say I would rather have Justin Herbert. Yeah. So he just falls in the category if I was in a startup for where he goes, which is 4th, 5th overall, that's a very valid point for him. I just would never take him there because I think he's very good. I don't trust. I'm one of those, like, I'm just sitting here for that day where like something happens. Like, see, I told you guys.
I know
like,
you are. I know you are.
I'm like that Derrick Henry. Like, took 7 years, but I was right.
How do you second in the NFL in rushing yards right now?
I'm the guy that would do that.
How do you spell wary good? Is it
WARYGOOD?
Okay. Well, I know very is spelled with an E, so I just wanted to see how you were going to spell it.
No, it's not very. It's wary. I'm wary about him, but he's very good. He's very good.
Weary. Okay. Next one here.
Wary.
Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker. What's the one word for Kenneth Walker?
I don't even like my word anymore. I wrote it down earlier. I must have been tired. Rich, what's your word?
It's a long one.
Okay. Is it a real one or no?
No.
No.
To me it is.
No.
My word for him is unsung upper rung.
Unsung upper. And that's one word?
Unsung upper rung. Yes.
Okay.
What
I mean,
is the definition of unsung upper rung?
I would love one.
Unsung upper rung comes from the English language. Combining the words of unsung, like an unsung hero, right? Like somebody who really, when it comes to fantasy football and dynasty, somebody whose name just never comes up for the most part. Like if it does, like, oh, they drafted this extra, like he's just never talked about. But he's just like it. So he's like an unsung hero, but he's an upper rung dynasty running back. Like even so, like you have him ranked, like we all have him probably ranked pretty decently. He's 24 years old. He's running back 10. Yeah, so do I. He's running back 10 on a points per game basis, but like I always feel like he's available like any dynasty team. Like he's somebody you can go probably trade for because like he's just not talked about. So for me, he's a very valuable asset. I love this rookie tape. So he's unsung upper rung. He's an upper rung running back that's just not talked about and appreciated enough. A guy that just goes about his business and gets it done. No news, no media, no talk about it. Just other running backs. Like when we're talking running backs, we like you glance over Kenneth Walker and it's just around to the next one because like there's not much to say. Like he's just a very solid running back, right? There's not
I wrote steady, and that just didn't feel right. But I feel
unsung
like
upper rung sounds better. So I get
sounds better, but I think we're saying the same thing. To be honest,
we are 100% saying the same thing. Yes. Steady
but I do
Eddie.
I like your phrasing
Steady
better.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Do you have more that you would like to expound upon that, or do you just like, yeah, I agree with Rich?
Oh, no, that's it. Like I think those are
okay.
the reasons I have it on there is what Rich was saying with the unsung upper rung. Is that right?
Unsung upper rung. Yes.
Unsung.
It's funny because so far I feel like I've viewed the first two players so different than both of you guys. So for me, the word I have for Kenneth Walker is pucker. And that's because Kenneth Walker makes my butthole pucker. He makes me super nervous all the time.
Oh, I thought he walked around with his pants off.
Nope. You just make like, you know how when you get nervous and you clench your butt cheeks and your butthole puckers? Yeah. That's how I feel about Kenneth Walker. Honestly, because
I actually don't know that feeling.
You don't know that feeling? His butthole's always just calm and collected.
For the most part, I just don't give
calm butthole Rich. So Kenneth Walker is such a like every time I put him in him, like I draft him or put him into a lineup, I'm terrified because one, he's hurt often. There's always a stretch every year where he's hurt, banged up, misses games. And then even when he does play, I don't know if it's a Kenneth Walker week or not. Like he has games this season where it's like he gets like 7 carries for like 6 fantasy points. And like, it's all over a game with 5 carries this year, 19 yards.
Every game he's played, he's got over 10 points except for 2 every single game.
Yeah. But he's also missed time. And those 2 games were 6 points and 5 points. The game that he had 11,
6.6 and 8.5
maybe this is standard. It might be standard.
You're looking at it's
half.
Standard.
I'm looking at half.
Okay.
But still, either way, it's still low numbers. But yeah, he has another game with like 5 carries. So it's just the usage is always kind of weird sometimes. He's hurt. He's like, sometimes he puts up amazing games. Other games, you're like, what happened in that one? So he just always makes me nervous. So
I think
my word is pucker.
I explained him as steady because I think as long as you don't expect too much from him, you won't be disappointed. Like, I don't think, you're never going to expect a bunch of top 5 or a top 5, overall finish.
But you put him there knowing he's going to get you, but he also is going to get you that like multiple times a year. He's going to get you that over 20 point game.
Sure.
Probably 3 to 5 times a year. So like you feel very comfortable about him. That's why he's unsung upper rung, because he is one of those like upper color running backs again. And that's what you said. You just put him in there. I don't expect a ton. It's just Ken Walker.
I wouldn't expect it, but it's going to happen a few times. I mean, it's just like the Aaron Jones of years past, where he'd have a couple monster games. You'd be like, all right, that was sweet. Wish we could do this more often. Jones.
Yeah.
Wish we could do this more often.
Puckering up.
That'd be cool.
Makes me pucker. All right. Next one here, Jaylen Waddle. What's your one word for Jaylen Waddle?
Can I give you mine? Fading.
Fading.
Where did this guy go, man? I just feel like he just is falling away in the wind. I don't know what happened to him, man. Why is he? I mean, obviously the whole offense has been kind of weird this year, but you would think with Tyreek Hill not performing up to snuff, it wouldn't be Jonnu Smith coming out of nowhere. It'd be Waddle reemerging.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel good to me. I don't know how to feel about his long term. There was a point in the season where I felt, this is just a kind of phase and he's going to be fine. But now it's really getting a lot more prolonged here. And he's still not doing anything of note.
Well,
anyway.
no, that's not true. The last 2 games, he's been pretty good. He's wide receiver 7 over the last 2 games. The last 2 games, he's been a little bit more involved. He has looked significantly better.
Okay.
Last 2 games.
Well, I guess 2 games. Let's hope that stays a trend, and we don't see him kind of fading more as the season goes on. This isn't like a blip, and he kind of continues that trend then. How about you?
What do you
Rich?
got, Rich?
What
my word's banana peel.
Banana peel.
Yeah, because listen, this is a guy who came out
because he's so fast.
No, I just don't know if I'm gonna die and break my neck or if this is a funny joke. I don't know. I don't know what's what. Like, am I gonna die or is this or I'm gonna laugh? So. These last couple of weeks he's been good, but like we have this other like rest of the season, which is very long because the season's over now, where he's been absolute like invisible, coming off back to back like wide receiver 1 years. Like
it was wide receiver. I'm looking at the numbers now. It was week 12 where he had a monster game, and then last week was just okay, 11.3.
Dude, for him, 11.3. Pretty
That's his third best game of the season.
It actually is his third best game of the season. Yes, so
it really is. It's not a joke. It really is.
Cracking more than one number out there.
Double digits.
So how about you, Jay? How do you feel about this guy?
This is probably my least favorite word, but it was buy. Like, I actually think Jaylen Waddle has gone so low, and I still think he's a good player. I don't think Tyreek Hill is coming back to what we expect out of him anymore.
Buy as in purchase?
Yeah, like I want him. I want to get him
buy
on my
as
team.
in it's not buy as in
not like see you
waving.
later. Like buy as in like buy this player.
I thought you were trying to tie in your pucker up comment. Okay, never mind.
No,
I get it now.
No. I like this was a boring one, but I was just like, yeah, he's a buy. Like I think this is it's gotten so low where I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in Jaylen Waddle. I think I can get him on the sheet right now. There you go. All right, next one here, Kyle Pitts. This was probably my favorite word that I came up with. You want me to go first?
Yeah,
if you want to, go right ahead.
I do want to go
so excited.
I thought it was Christmas morning for a second. This guy's out here like, giggity.
My word was Inception. And Inception is my favorite movie of all time. I love Christopher Nolan. I think he's brilliant. And I feel like somebody dream hacked me with Kyle Pitts and put this idea deep-seated in the recesses of my brain that Kyle Pitts should be great. And I just keep believing that he's going to be great. And he
That
just
person
never
was
is.
Rich. Do you remember that? It was the podcast. Rich did that to you.
Rich incepted me. You put thoughts in my brain, you earwig. But no, honestly, like, and as much as like he's been so bad, like if you ask me right now, like, do you still think after all the terribleness you've seen that there's still hope for Kyle Pitts? I would tell you yes. And it's wrong, and I shouldn't feel that way, but I can't quit him.
I get it. I understand. It makes perfect sense. My word was another real word. Real word. I call him the talented imposter source. So he's a talented imposter source.
I said, Rich, you're welcome to make words. He read that as, Rich, you're only allowed to make up words.
Only make up fresh new words, please. Thank you.
So, yeah. So his word is talented imposter source because, listen, he's talented. We saw it in tape in college that he was talented. He came out as a rookie. He caught 1,000 yards. He was talented. Imposter because, well, you know, he just doesn't do anything at all. It's like a rock getting poked with a stick. And source because the last time he did anything was so long ago, it might as well be a fossil. So he's a talented imposter source because I don't know what's going on around here. This guy's putting up more goose eggs than an actual goose. And that's how they breed. So I don't understand the deal here, man, because we've seen the talent. And I don't know what happened, but since that rookie year, his name might as well be Casper Pitts because I can barely see the guy.
This game was made for Rich Dotson.
This was not my jam, but this is clearly Rich's thing.
Made for Rich.
You all just play this on your own next time.
He needs to move on to a different situation. Good thing is we all still have time. My kids will be able to draft Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, he's young, man. I just put Houdini because just disappeared. He's gone. And I don't think that needs much more explanation than that. So
Houdini-saurus would have been cooler, but okay.
Houdini-saurus. You're right. That would have been if I knew that word was available to me.
All words are available. Just put
to
them all
you.
Together.
Non-words are available.
Dude,
I wasn't allowed to make words up. It was in the writing.
When I say the word consistability, you and tens of thousands of people know exactly what I talk about, and it goes in their ear, and they feel very comfortable, and they're like, yeah, that's consistability. That's a word now. You're like, listen, all words start somewhere. Somebody's got to make a sound and say, this is what this means. And listen, if I say faux shizzle, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it took one man. And I'm pretty much just comparing myself to Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, you basically just did. Yeah, you basically just did.
All right, last one. Last one here. David Montgomery. Give me your one word for David Montgomery.
The dude's greedy, man.
Word.
He's greedy. He just
greedy.
Wants all the touches. Wow. He wants all the touchdowns all the time, and I'm tired of it. Pass them around to Jamison Williams, man. Dude gets nothing.
He doesn't go Jahmyr Gibbs. He goes Jamison Williams.
Well, Jahmyr, I wanted to say Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's got 10 touchdowns.
Tim Patrick needs more love.
Come on. You know Jared Goff wants to run in the end zone, not just throw it.
Can I get a little Khalif Raymond, please? Come on.
Why did God give him legs if he's not supposed to use them?
He's just so greedy.
That's a good one, Matt. I like that.
That's pretty good. You went. I actually just went with a real word here, and I went overlooked.
What?
Yeah, overlooked. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of good.
Overlooked thesaurus. Come on, Rich.
I really thought about adding source to it. Just to
all of them.
I really thought about the consistability here. I messed up. Yeah, overlooked where it's like I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Like David Montgomery has outperformed Jonathan Taylor for the last 3 years. Like he's one of those guys. Like Jahmyr Gibbs kind of. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs has to do this as well. Like in startups, like so many running backs are going to go ahead of David Montgomery, where David Montgomery should go. He's running back 10 on the year. He was running back 17 last year. Then the year before that, he was running back 19. And the year before that, he was running back 4 overall. So he's have 2 running back 1 finishes and 2 running back 2 finishes in the last 4 years. And that's a very valuable asset in your dynasty team. But meanwhile, he's still going to go much more later. Like he's just overlooked over better names because he's in a timeshare slot. But this is one of those situations where the timeshare slot actually works beautifully. And all you can sit there and go, oh, what could be if they each were just a guy? But it's not the situation, but that's okay too, because they are performing at a decent level. So I feel like David Montgomery is just kind of like overlooked as other running backs where, again, Jonathan Taylor would go so much higher than him in a startup where like you could just take something else, wait 5 more rounds or 3 more rounds to get David Montgomery, and he'll probably outproduce Jonathan Taylor like he's done for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Nope. That makes a lot of sense. The word I came up with was juggernaut, and not juggernaut as in like unstoppable beast. Like, no, I'm talking about the villain from X-Men, the guy with the metal helmet that just
unstoppable beast. Yes.
Yeah. Just runs through the wall.
Run through walls.
Yeah. That's David Montgomery. Like, good luck stopping him. He's just going to run through your face.
What's your superhero power? Put my head through walls. Like, oh, yeah, we're going to put you on the bad team. Okay. Follow that magnet guy around.
Yeah. That's just like, I feel like I should have more analysis around this, but I just thought of him. And
once again, the show's running long. I think we should go on to our last segment here.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. Should we, we've been running long. We could save this for the Nerd Herd. It's almost 11:30 our time. We could save it for the Nerd Herd. What do you think?
You know what? We are almost an hour, and this is a good game. So yeah, Nerd Herd show tomorrow. Let's go into, would you trade this player for 1.6?
Yep. Is he worth a first?
And we'll be talking about guys like Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Bucky Irvin, and more. So if you're not a Nerd Herd member, make sure you get out there and join the Nerd Herd. We all got Christmas cards coming in the mail with a check from Grandma or Aunt Sally or Uncle Larry. So why don't you put that to good cause and make yourself a better Dynasty player? Why don't you invest in yourself? Why don't you be the best person that you can be? And right now, if you're not a member of the Nerd Herd, you are doing yourself a disservice by not being the best Dynasty player that you can be. You can sit there on your high horse and think, yeah, man, I put a lot of time in this. I don't need anybody else's help. That's not true. We all need help. I need it every day. I text these guys help for all the time, and I study this every single day of my life. This is my job to do.
It's true. So it's so true.
Listen,
every day.
Use some of that Uncle Larry money and get in there and invest. Get the tools that are going to make your life easier. Because if you're this into it, you're going to in multiple Dynasty leagues. That's why we built the GM in the first place. Get the bonus podcast so we can tell you if DJ Moore is worth 1.6 or not. You need that kind of information. You get the Nerd Score. It's been more accurate than the NFL draft GMs, proven by outside sources. You get Dynasty Nerds rookie film in the film room of all 22 film with over 600 games and more to come. Like, what else could you ask for than a cup of coffee a day? That's a gift card with some change back from Aunt Sally. Get in there, be the best you possible. Go into 2025 saying, hey, this is the new me. This is the best Dynasty player Uncle Sally is going to be.
Uncle Sally.
Yeah, come on. It's 2024, Garrett. Get hip. This is it. This is me. I'm here. I'm beautiful. And I know that I'm putting my best foot forward. Join the Nerd Herd. Tune in tomorrow. We have a show. If not, we're back Monday with more injuries.
Uncle Larry. Adios.